presentation of Fox Sports.
Torrey Hunter and the Angels are here. It's interleague play. Kendry Morales as well for Los Angeles, and a team that has won 5 of their past 7. Now, while the American League has dominated overall, the Cardinals, representing the National League, second best team behind Florida. The Redbirds 190. We're in downtown St. Louis, and it's the Cardinals and the Angels. Angels 20-23. The Cardinals are 24-18. Welcome to Cardinals baseball, along with Al Rabosky. I'm Dan McLaughlin, and if there's a team that you look at in the American League that might play a little bit of that National League style of baseball, Mike Scioscia and the Angels, and he's had great success.
Exactly right. You know, when I was with the Kansas City Royals under Whitey Herzog, they were an American League team that played National League baseball, and they dominated. Well, you can say that about the Angels, particularly when they run the bases, do a lot of little things. They play small ball in a league that is known for just hitting home runs.
Now, if you look at the Cardinals here on this homestand, it was a sweep over Washington, a split with Florida, and David Freese off to a tremendous start.
He really is. He's still a rookie, but those 26 RBIs are second in the National League rookie race, and also you see the average with runners in scoring position. He has really done the job, and I think he's very relaxed. His stroke is really perfect for RBI situations.
Well, it should be interesting, this matchup tonight. Brad Penny in the rotation, essentially replacing the guy that we're facing tonight in Joel Pinheiro. Pinheiro, Penny. We'll look at those two next. Bush, and it's game 1 on Fox Sports Midwest. Interesting pitching matchup here. You've got Joel Pinheiro, and his career with the Cardinals really turned it around for him personally, 28-23, but parlayed that outstanding season he had a year ago, all the innings and the wins, into a big contract with the Angels, 2 years, and Joel Pinheiro relies on that sinker quite heavily.
That's what he needs to do. And, of course, his last time out, his 6th career shutout, he is not allowed to run in 17 1/3 innings. Last time he defeated Oakland, a 4-hitter, going all 9 innings for that 6th shutout. And it's that sinker that is his bread and butter.
Now on the other side, Brad Penny. And here's a look at some of his highlights from the Great American Ballpark over the weekend. Probably his roughest start, Al, that he had.
No doubt about it. He lost his 4th consecutive game, and really the first time that he should have lost a game. 13 hits, 7 earned runs.
We'll talk more about interleague play when we come back. Cardinals and Angels tonight on Fox Sports Midwest. And as you see outside Busch Stadium, big crowd finally in. Angels and Cardinals in Game 1. Let's take a look at the best of the bunch in interleague play. We'll start with Albert Pujols. No surprise here. 355 hitter. That's first all-time. 36 homers, 115 RBIs. Remember Anthony Reyes? He gave up this memorable home run to Jim Thome back in 2006.
Complete game, and he loses 1-0 on the home run by Jim Thome. The most prolific home run hitter in interleague play does it again.
And as far as RBIs, A-Rod.
Well, A-Rod, he's just a remarkable player, but 163 RBIs, first all-time in interleague play. Of course, we're talking about guys that have been around a long time, and they're still going strong.
Angels and Cardinals coming out from Busch Stadium. and then behind a strong pitching performance from Adam Wainwright, split the series with the Florida Marlins. Tonight, it's interleague play, and the Cardinals turn to their big right-hander, Brad Penny. Penny at Busch Stadium has an ERA that sits under 2. The offense is always led by the great Albert Pujols. And yesterday, it was Matt Holliday who picked up a couple of doubles and a key 2-out RBI that helped the Redbirds in the win. Will that carry over to tonight? We're about to find out. It's the St. Louis Cardinals and the Los Angeles Angels. Interleague play next on Fox Sports Midwest. On Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Budweiser. With full flavor and a crisp, clean finish, it's what we do. By Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers, #1 for quality tires and expert auto service. By Steak and Shake, life needs flavor. By Chevy's expert auto service. See your Mid-America Chevy dealers or shop and compare at stlchevy.com. And by Casino Queen and Casino, home of the loosest slots. A few moments ago, the great Bob Gibson, it's his statue night. Said the shoulder was hurting a little bit, and on his ceremonial first pitch, it looked like it did hurt.
Well, we won't tell anybody it bounced.
It bounced. The great Bob Gibson. And there's behind Tony La Russa, by the way. You saw him with that red hooded top, and there he is. That's Brian Jordan. He'll be with us in the 3rd inning. Former teammates there, Mark McGuire and Brian Jordan.
He's got a couple children's books out.
We talk about that, and you think about how athletic you have to be to play 2 sports, pro football and Major League Baseball, and Brian Jordan did that, so we'll visit with him in the 3rd inning.
He was a strong safety, so he wasn't a guy just laying back. You know, he was a hitter.
He wasn't a kicker.
No, he wasn't a kicker, and he I think he led the Falcons a couple years in tackles, and he was right in the middle of things, and then converted that to being a very good baseball player.
Umpires finally arriving on the scene. Tony La Russa will take out his lineup card. It's interleague play starting tonight, and apparently you won your duel with Cal Eldred, discussing whether or not you like interleague play.
Well, I love to see certain American League clubs. I love certain matchups, but I think it's, you know, when the fact that the Yankees and Red Sox have only been here one time in 14 years. We've never gone to Anaheim. We've never gone to Baltimore. You know, it's just, you don't see the parity. And one year we had 3 different visits. We went to Detroit. and you're not, your teams in your division are not playing the same schedule.
Last time we saw the Angels was 2007 here at this ballpark, and we flash back. It was Albert Pujols, June 10th of 07. That was off of Weaver, and we'll see him on Sunday. And Albert, a couple of bombs in that series and on that afternoon.
Angels have been here twice, and as you see the curtain call for Albert. They've been here twice. We have not gone to Anaheim, and the Cardinals and the Angels have played .500 baseball against each other.
Taking a look at the series history, 6 games. And the Cardinals lead in home runs, and the runs scored pretty much even, 33-32. We talked about it. Mike Scioscia, you see him there, who's done just a fantastic job with Los Angeles. I mean, this is a team that plays at National League style of baseball. They will run, but you wonder how much they'll run in this series with Molina.
Well, when they don't run, they go from first to third extremely well. They usually lead in double plays. They're a ball club that is very patient. They'll accept their walks. They hit for a high average. They go out there and play the game fundamentally right.
Brad Penny right now getting a little bit impatient inside that dugout. I don't blame him. We should be already playing baseball. These guys are creatures of habit. They know at 7:15 you're supposed to have your first pitch, and now finally looks like Yadier Molina will lead the charge with the Cardinals here. There's Felipe Lopez. But the umpires didn't show up until about 3-4 minutes ago. Let's take a look at the lineup for the Angels. And the Angels in the American League West are 4.5 games back behind Texas. Ibar, Kendrick, Bobby Abreu, the former Phil and Yankee, then Torrey Hunter, the former Twin, Kendry Morales, their Big Bopper, Juan Rivera, Mike Napoli, Brandon Wood, and Joel Pinheiro. Southwest Airlines starting lineup. And here is Brad Penny. He's our Marshall Wireless Sprint starter, and he has a record of 3-4, but very good ERA here at home, and actually has pitched much better at home as opposed to the road.
Oh, that's true. He's lost 4 straight games. His last one was a rough one in Cincinnati. Probably he should have lost that game, no doubt about it. But with that ERA at 2.7 plus, he should have won several of those games that he lost. The 3 games he lost for his last time out there. He's gotten the lowest run support of any Cardinal starter, only 2 runs.
Coming off that loss against Cincinnati, let's take a look at the defense behind him. Holiday, Rasmus, Ludwig in the outfield. Freese, Lopez, Schumacher, and Pujols along the infield. This is presented by Dobbs, and it's Penny and Molina. And it's a big, big crowd here tonight. Bob Gibson statue giveaway. And Bob had the ride around the ballpark, and that was great to see as he had a long standing ovation.
Yeah, he's kind of accepted the fact he'll take the cart around now rather than run out. Mike Scioscia, and there you see VJ, Brian Jordan. He'll be with us in the 3rd inning for the Cardinal, former Falcon. And Mike Scioscia, he's one of the most durable catchers, was known for blocking the plate during his playing career with the Dodgers. Really a class act, and he is one of the best managers in all of baseball. And just it's interesting to see his club, the way they play, for the style of player he was that had no running speed.
Yeah. We're still handing him out the Bob Gibson replica statue. And away we go at about 20 after. Ibar will lead it off. He's hitting .241, 1 home run, and 5 RBIs. Showing bunt, looks at a strike. Sean Fagan signed as a free agent. Offseason, stayed in the division, went to Seattle. And you have to wonder if that has hurt this club, Al, as he was really a spark plug for the Angels in their lineup.
Well, there's no doubt about it. Ibar is a very good defensive player.
0-2. Mentioned that Texas leads that division 24-18. Then you have Oakland LA and Seattle, all those teams are under 500. 69 degrees our game time temperature. And an 0-2 pitch. Here it comes. Foul tip. We'll do it again.
Brad Penning, you just has blended in very well with his ball club. He's adapted quite nicely to the philosophies of Dave Duncan. Just got to get him back on the winning ways, but boy, he's had some tough luck losses with very little run support.
0-2 pitch. Breaking ball and just missed outside. The Cardinals face Joel Pinheiro. He's been one of the hottest pitchers in baseball right now. A 17 and a third inning scoreless streak. Longest by an Angel this year, and you know he's going to be pumped up for this start tonight. Manning barehands it. Look at that. He barehanded it. And there's one away.
Big bear claw grabbed that ball. It wasn't hit hard, and Mr. Penny said, "I'd take care of this young man." At the end of the bat, bare hands it, no big deal.
Very nonchalant, no big deal is right.
Yeah. I want to send a message to that opposition that, hey, we're playing with the big boys now.
Here's Howie Kendrick with one out, nobody on. What's interesting is the Angels, as they pitch, they win. Their 20 wins, they have a 1.70 ERA. In their 23 losses, the ERA is over 7.
Saw that. And they've been pitching very well of late. They gave up a lot of early home runs.
They've allowed 48 this year. Tied for most in the American League, third most in Major League Baseball. But they've allowed just 5 home runs over the last 8 games.
Kendrick's one of those interleague hitters that does a great job. 356, 6 for 13 in his career against St. Louis, but big differential at home versus on the road.
Report today that Roy Oswalt has asked to be traded, and Houston, off to that terrible start, rebuilding. And his agent contacted ownership and Ed Wade and asked to be traded. He does have a no-trade clause, but obviously he would waive that. And I'm sure there's a lot of contenders that would be willing to not only pick up that contract, maybe extend him. And, you know, you always think about the big market teams are the ones that would be able to do that.
And that's one way a player can use that leverage. He has that the no-trade clause.
This is well hit out to right. Going back, Ludwig. Near the track, and he's got it. Kendrick retired, and this is our Southwest Airlines Fox Tracks and a pitch that was down in the zone.
Right down there, and a lot of times you think there's somebody's going to pound that one in the dirt, but he got underneath it, hit the line drive, but into the glove of Ludwig.
Now Bobby Abreu is hitting .269, 5 home runs and 19 RBIs. This is a guy that, you know, when you think about grinding out at bats, he certainly does that, doesn't he? A lot of pitches, doesn't mind hitting with 2 strikes. He did that when he was with the Phillies and really was under the radar for the longest time. The Phillies weren't any good when he was there, and he was the one guy that was putting up great numbers.
Yeah, he's done a little bit of everything in his career, too. Couple all-star appearance, Gold Glove recipient, Silver Slugger honoree, 20-plus stolen bases in 11 consecutive seasons. But people might be surprised, you know, that he's reached 100 RBIs in 7 consecutive seasons.
He's only hitting .216 on the road this year. And a ground ball that's hit to second. Schumacher there. Over to Albert. Angels go in order. Pinheiro, the former Cardinal, to the mound when we come back. folks enjoying some of the local establishments around town. Right before Cardinals baseball. Our buddy Tony West taking that shot. And a look at the lineup. Felipe Lopez, Ryan Ludwig, and Matt Holliday. Then Albert Pujols, Colby Rasmus, David Freese, Yadier Molina, Skip Schumacher, and Brad Penny. That's the Southwest Airlines lineup for Tony La Russa's club. Old friend on the hill, Joel Pinheiro. He's coming off a 98-pitch, 4-hit complete game in his last start. So 8 starts, he's 3-4, and opponents hitting .279 against him. Struck out 33. And now, as we've talked about, when he's right, it's ground ball after ground ball.
No doubt about it. He's coming off a 17 1/3 scoreless streak. 17 1/3 scoreless innings. And you say he's going to be pumped up. That's not usually what you want to be if you're a sinker baller. Cardinals say they're going to kind of wait him out. Try and see if they can. He has tremendous movement on his sinker, and see if they can get him to throw that ball and have it move and dart out of the strike zone. But he's been the best in baseball since last season in allowing the fewest walks per 9 innings.
He was like that last year. Rarely walked any hitters. And he was terrific at this ballpark for the Cardinals a season ago. Here's a 2-2 pitch to Felipe. For how many guys has, let me rephrase that, how much money has Dave Duncan made some of these guys? You know, Pinheiro,
including himself.
Yeah, that's true. 2 years, $16 million for Pinheiro to go to the Angels. And remember, when the Cardinals picked him up, he was with Boston, and he couldn't get on the mound for the Red Sox.
Yeah, basically agreed to go to AAA so they could make a deal and send him someplace. And the Cardinals were the beneficiary, and so was Joel, as he worked with Dave Duncan and parlayed it into that nice contract.
2-2.
Got a contract extension with the Cardinals before signing here with the Angels.
Most people believe that in baseball that he would wind up with the Mets. Remember his great starts that he had against New York, and the Mets needed pitching.
Sure. It made sense because he did have some big money games, you know, big pressure games. Took them out of the playoffs one year playing a makeup game. Right now we're seeing thrown 8 pitches in this bat to Felipe, and 6 of the 8 have been strikes. See if he maintains contact with the rubbers on the first base side. Kind of pivot right there, and does he lose contact?
Slap the other way, and this is a good at bat to start this game by Lopez. When the Cardinals on that most recent road trip almost seemed like they were just not grinding through the at-bats, almost giving those away, and this is good to see. This will be pitch number 10 here to the leadoff man, Felipe Lopez. Take it inside. Count runs full. Lopez playing a bunch now. Second and short, and he's at shortstop tonight. Big gap in right center, the 3-2. Ground ball, slowly hit towards first, and stepping on the bag, Morales. A look at the Angels defense. 11 pitch at bat to start the game. Rivera, Hunter, Abreu in the outfield. Wood, Ibar, Kendrick, and Morales along the infield of the battery tonight. Joel Pinheiro and Mike Napoli. Dobbs defense.
Got a single ball on the mound, and the left side of the Angels infield is very good. So you should really trust pitching to contact. Something that Duncan preaches.
One out, nobody on. Here's Ludwig. Really settled in nicely into that number 2 spot. 290, 6 home runs, and 17 RBIs on the year.
And you look at the Cardinal lineup right now, and you know Ludwig loves batting in the 2-hole. I think Holliday feels very comfortable in the 3rd hole. Albert can hit any place. I think it has more balance than the one we had earlier.
And Mike Shannon talked about it in the pregame show, but the two big guys, Holiday and Pujols, they have to produce.
No doubt about it. I mean, Ludwig is making a little money, but when you look at the way the contract or
there's a base hit, left center.
And the bulk of the Cardinals' salary is, you've got some high-salaried starters, and then you've got the middle of the order, Pujols and Holiday, that have to come through. Ludwig is another guy who has shown that he can handle a lot. He can hold his responsibility to get the big money because they have more, responsibility.
And now Matt Holiday hitting an even 300, 4 homers, 16 RBIs.
And it's funny, yesterday, Holiday hitting in front of Albert, got a big double, drove in 2, and everybody's happy. Brendan Ryan got a base hit, a walk.
That's ripped to third, off the glove, and out at second. Tough spot there for Ludwig.
Oh, he had no chance.
Yep.
And it's a lot better than a line drive double play. But if you're the runner at first base, this ball is just scorched and knocked down. But Ludwig, he had no place to go. Watch him break his secondary. Now he's going to get back. Then it dropped. And at that point, he had no chance to get there ahead of the force play.
Well, this is interesting that when you talk about Holiday and picking up that extra base hit, he had the 2 RBI double. And then that ball scoots away. Holiday winds up at second. Al, that was his first extra base hit to drive in a run at home since October 4th of 2009. The extra base hit.
Well, I went to go see Mike Scioscia before the game, and he looked at the lineup and he said, Rasmus has a chance to really have a good game because Albert's going to see nothing. And that ball that got away, putting
right on cue.
Yeah, putting Holiday in scoring position just was perfect for Mike Scioscia and his strategy. The 14th intentional walk for Pujols. That's as many as most clubs.
Get the feeling that Pinheiro, while this is the smart move, he's a competitor. He wants to face Pujols.
Absolutely. And that's the attitude he has to take. Now, he'll live with the strategy of his manager, but at some point, you might have to face Albert with the bases loaded, and you don't have that luxury. So as a competitor, you want to face him every time.
So Mike Scioscia with that intentional walk and the most time spent in first place since 2004. The Angels and the Cardinals 1-2 there, and then you have the Dodgers. A lot of people would say, well, we're the Yankees. And the Yankees, it may be tough for them to get first place this year. Tampa Bay is unbelievable. Now they're 30-11.
They had no problem when they went into New York to take on the Yankees too, didn't they? Swept that series? I think they did.
They did, and Tampa Bay has won 6 straight. Here's a 1-0 pitch. And a ground ball. 1 ball, 1 strike with 2 outs and 2 runners on. Jerome Pinheiro was not selected for the World Baseball Classic. A lot of people looked at that as motivation for him. The team Puerto Rico. And that manager of that team, of course, Cardinals third base coach, Jose Oquendo.
It was a tough decision, and whether that was part of the motivation a couple years ago to have that great season. Kendo said you could be a reliever, but you can hurt the Cardinals by being one.
In the air down the left field line, slicing out of play. What a crowd we have here tonight. Packed house here at Busch Stadium. I understand it's going to warm up here in St. Louis over the weekend too.
Talking about reaching the 90s on Sunday. were in the 50s last night, right? Not
cool.
the 40s.
2-2 the count on Colby Rasmus. Full foul again. If anything, even if the Cardinals don't score in this inning, they've made Pinheiro work. He's thrown out 25 pitches here in the first.
I was just thinking the same thing, Dan. Just get that pitch count up. Everybody talks about how you can knock that starter out as early as possible, get into that middle relief. Everybody's got a little bit of Achilles heel there.
2-2 pitch. Rasmus drives it into deep right center. That ball will get down. To the track it goes. 1 run in. Rasmus on his way to third with a triple. 2-run star. And it's 2-0 Cardinals. Again, the Cardinals have been so good with 2 outs and runners in scoring position. They have 3 players in the top 10 in that category in the National League.
Well, down at the bottom of the strike zone, down and in. Left-handed hitters like the ball down there. You still have to hit it, and you have to find a gap. Rasmus does both of those. He gets it almost to the wall, out to the warning track. His great speed. He plates 2, and he's got a triple with 2 outs.
Here's David Freese. Freese has 15 RBIs with men in scoring position and 2 outs.
That's unbelievable. It's a .333 average during that time. He also, we talked about 20 of his 26 RBIs have come in his first plate appearance.
And those 15 RBIs with 2 outs. Tied for second in the National League behind James Loney, who has 16.
302 average, tops among rookies. The RBIs are second best among rookies.
And a ground ball that's hit to short. This should do it. Cardinals will strand Colby, but Rasmus gives them a 2-0 lead. The triple scores 2. Proved tonight his career against the Angels. It's our Toyota key to the game. 7 starts, 2-3, ERA over 5. Of course, many starts for Brad Penny when he was with the Dodgers in interleague play. Those 2 teams would face each other. Colby Rasmus has made it 2-0 here in downtown St. Louis.
Thanks to Kobe, the Cardinals have given Penny 2 runs to work with. That's what they, how much run support they give him through 9 innings.
And now it's Torrey Hunter who's batting cleanup in this lineup.
He's been hot.
And a single up the middle. A pitch that looked to be up. First base hit for Los Angeles, and it's a leadoff hit for Torrey Hunter. Kendry Morales, switch hitter, hitting .282, 9 home runs, and he has driven in 31. And this is a guy that have to be very careful with. He's got very good power.
Now, we've never seen Morales, a switch hitter. As you said, a very good power, good power. But, you know, even in interleague play, some of the fallacy, Torrey Hunter, who's on at first base, the last time the Cardinals have seen him was July of 2001.
And what your argument is with interleague play, you want to see the superstars.
You want to see the superstars, you know, at the very least. Shouldn't you, there's 3 divisions in the other team, shouldn't you see, you know, everybody in the American League should come through here every 3 years. And you should go to the opposing team every 3 years. So you should have a home and away. And yet we have never been to Anaheim or Baltimore in the 14 years of interleague play. The Yankees and Boston have only been here once.
2 balls and no strikes. One thing that is certain, and you can't argue about this, the numbers don't lie. Attendance is up. The fans say that they do enjoy it. Commissioner wants it.
All right, timeout. Timeout.
Here we go. I'm not Cal. Okay, I'm just playing devil's advocate.
But I mean, when did they have interleague play? When school's out. Attendance always goes up when school's out.
Well, I know a number of kids that are still in school, Al.
Well, most of them, you know, if you help your kids with their homework a little bit, they would graduate on time.
My oldest is 4, Al. I don't have a lot of homework right now.
My grandson already has a degree, and he's younger than that.
3 balls and a strike. But the numbers don't lie. Attendance does go up. Fans seem to enjoy it. But to follow up on your point, as I try to help you make your point, fans would love to see Albert Pujols. There's no doubt about it.
Exactly. I mean, you don't think people in Anaheim would love to see him?
Here's a 3-1 pitch. Good rip, 3-2.
Now, they'll probably get a chance to see Albert this year in Anaheim.
All-Star game.
All-Star game.
Well, this guy at the plate, again, be careful because he's got 28 home runs since the All-Star break of 09. And that is most in the American League, 4th most in the majors in that span. 3-2, runner goes. Get out of play. So Morales, who's over at first base, essentially taking the spot of Mark Teixeira, who then signed with the Yankees.
Morales, a Cuban native, was voted the Angels team MVP and last season, his first full campaign with the club. A switch hitter in 30 of his 34 home runs have come batting left-handed.
I will say this, when you see the Angels or some of the other teams, it does, you know, break up the fact that you'll see the teams in your division 18, 19 times sometimes. Hunter was off with a pitch. Colby fires into third. Strong throw, and it scoots away from Freese. Hunter on his way to the plate, and he will score. And it's 2-1. That's twice now that we've seen some good throws from Colby Rasmus. But that'll be an error on him. That's a tough error as it hit the runner.
Well, let's see if it hits the runner. I thought David Freese took his eye off it. They were running on the pitch, and well, it probably got underneath him. And it just, whether he kicked it or not, it was a low throw. It just probably did skim off his leg. And then Freese had a little trouble picking it up, guaranteeing Hunter to score. But that's characteristic of the Angels ball club, as they were going to go from, they'll go first to third with anybody.
Here's Rivera. So it's a base hit, E8 on the play.
And Dan, you know, with the advanced scouts, whether it's, you know, a human being sitting in the stands or just doing it by video, we've seen so many poor throws from Kobe that it's understandable everyone is going to test him. He has been throwing better, though.
And that's a grounder up the middle. And this game is tied. Rivera ties it up 2-2. Schumacher slow to get up. He may be shook up a little bit. He tried to keep it on the infield.
Check that left wrist as Morales scored to tie the game up.
Checking on that left hand, left wrist. See if he landed on it.
Oh, see the glove kind of snap back behind him there, rolls over on it, and you can see the pain as he immediately dropped the glove.
So Mike Scioscia last season and playing National League ball. First in bunt hits, runners from first to third, first in that department, double plays turn, 174. And here's Mike Napoli.
He's got a little power in his bat also.
First pitch is taken for a ball. Napoli hitting .229, 3 homers, and he's driven in 9.
Set career highs in several offensive categories last season. Runs, hits, home runs, RBIs.
It's 3 consecutive hits to start the inning against Penny. 1-0 pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike. This is well hit out to deep left. Holiday back at the wall, and it's gone. Angels have a lead on a 2-run homer by Napoli, his 4th of the year, and it's 4-2. And a 1-1 pitch. He parks it into the bullpen.
A hanging breaking ball. And there you see. Ends up about thigh high. This guy powerfully built. And he just smokes that ball into the bullpen. 4 consecutive base hits.
And now Brandon Wood. 4-2 Angels.
Wood struggling, but you look at his minor league record and you think he'll be fine. On 20+ home runs, 5 consecutive seasons in the minor leagues.
And that's a foul ball. The check swing, 0-2. Still nobody out. That's 4 consecutive hits against Penny here in the second.
Some of the young Cardinal players would know him from the PCL wars. He was an all-star last year.
And this is well hit. Colby will make the catch. 1 away. Catch Cardinals crew tomorrow morning. Andy Bennis and Fred Bird. And they're on a scavenger hunt. Cardinals crew made possible by Shriners Hospital for Children. It airs Saturdays at 11:30 on Fox Sports Midwest. Certainly the American League teams come into the National League parks at a disadvantage with their pitchers that have to hit and no DH. Hideki Matsui, they signed him in the offseason, the former Yank. So he sits tonight. Pinheiro is hitting for himself, obviously.
Every National League club can find a DH in American League City. But when your pitchers have to hit and you lose one of your best bats, it is a disadvantage.
Pujols will take it himself. And Pinheiro retired.
Of course, you wouldn't know about it if you're looking at how well the American League has played the National League.
And there's a look at Matsui. Godzilla. Hideki Matsui, what a World Series he had for the Yankees a year ago.
He owns a .435 average in 6 career games against St. Louis.
Two outs and first pitch, pulled foul. So Penny allowed the 4 consecutive hits. Single by Hunter, single by Morales, Rivera single. That tied it up at 2-2, and then the 2-run homer by Napoli.
If you remember, like I did, remember a few years ago, they had a kid they thought was going to be a superstar.
Third baseman, right?
Willits. I think he's the outfielder. You know, it was the guy I always
good
talking
speed.
about. Yeah, he had tremendous speed. And Willits had 300 against left-hand pitching, but 133 against righties. Still been a pretty good player, but not. He had a spectacular series in interleague play.
That's back at Penny, and that's the second time that Ibar has done that. Angels their first lead. It's 4-2. $4-3-2. It's our U.S. Cellular text poll. 48% thus far say they like it. Al has texted in B.
I'd like it with a disclaimer.
Only
to see the best teams.
Yeah, it was up to you. You'd see the Yankees, Boston.
Right. I wouldn't want to see the record after you played them all.
It does bring up the point, though, when you do have to face Boston or the Yankees and other teams are facing, you know, the lesser teams in the league, there is a extreme disadvantage.
Well, the Cardinals are going to sell out against anybody. But, you know, say when the White Sox were good a couple years ago, the Cubs are playing them 6 games. We're playing 6 games against Kansas City. You know, when Cleveland was good, the Reds were playing them, and we're playing Kansas City. Now, I don't mean to, you know, be disrespectful to Kansas City, but last year we were 5-1 against them, and say one of your top contenders is playing 500 against another ball club, and we end up beating them out by 1 game. Now, how fair is that?
Right. 2 balls, no strikes here on Skip Schumacher. It's Bob Gibson statue night here at the ballpark. Skip hits it the other way. Extra bases. So the wrist is feeling okay.
Maybe it helped it.
We'll stop at second with a 1-out double.
You see the little quirk this year where the Phillies don't need any help. They're going to play 81 home games. Pitch down and away. We know he likes to go the opposite field. This time he drives it out there, gets into the gap, and gets an extra base hit. Maybe he can get one of those runs back. Here, Penny can help his own cause.
Well, the Phillies get an extra home game.
3. They get an extra series.
That's against Toronto, correct?
Against Toronto is the G20 Summit, is...
Liner, oh, what a play at third. It's Brandon Wood, and he takes a hit away from Penny and an RBI. Nice play.
The G20 Summit is in Toronto, and for security purposes, Major League Baseball moved those 3 games. They're going to be now home games for Toronto in Philadelphia. And Philadelphia will take the field to start the game. They will be the home team and get the final at bat, but they'll play with the DH. But I mean, you think somebody in Major League Baseball would have been aware. I think that conference has only been scheduled for about 10 years.
2 outs and a runner at second for Felipe Lopez. Tampa Bay won't face a team that made the playoffs last season. The Yankees have series against the Phillies and Dodgers, 2 playoff teams. That's what you're talking about.
Exactly.
It's a close race. That could be a big difference down the stretch.
You mentioned they may not need any help anyway.
Lopez into right center. Drives in Schumacher. And Felipe on his way to third. Uh-oh. Oh, he's in there. Throw had him beat. And Lopez winds up with a triple.
Oquendo's talking to him because he should have been out. But this is why Oquendo will send runners. I'm talking usually about at home, but you try to be aggressive because you make the opposition. You see if they are capable of doing it. I think that ball might have changed direction. See if it doesn't hit Felipe, or at least Wood was not prepared as he was screened by the runner coming down, and that ball changed directions on him a little bit.
Ludwig a broken back. Little flare into right. And that drops in for a hit. Goodness. Rivera couldn't come up with it. And we're tied up at 4. Extends the inning to Holiday. 4-4 game.
Comes in here right there. Abreu slides. Really didn't make much ground. He's running hard, but just not getting any place. And just a well-placed, broken bat, RBI base hit. Second hit for Ludwig. And all of a sudden, we've got a tie game again.
And again, the runs coming with 2 outs. Cardinals are making a habit of that.
Mike Butcher is the pitching coach for Scioscia. Bud Black was a pitching coach for many years, but then when he got the managerial job with San Diego, Butcher was in the minor league system, and he got promoted to the big leagues.
See San Diego next week.
And they're playing good baseball.
They can pitch. They've got very good young pitching.
Name of the game, isn't it?
Yes, it is. 2 outs, runner at first. And Matt Holliday hit a rocket his first time off the glove of the third baseman. And it turned out to be a force play at second. Ludwig was in no man's land. He was the runner at first. Here's the 0-1. 0-2 now on Matt Holliday. The Cardinals have gotten to Pinheiro, which has been very tough to do, looking at his last 3 starts and just how well he's pitched.
Pregame 4-hit shutout. His last one, he had 17 1/3 scoreless innings coming in.
And the 0-2. Good block by Napoli.
To a breaking ball, but made sure he's going to keep it down. A lot of people used to believe that when Pinheiro didn't believe in that sinker, that a lot of hitters felt that the more he went away from the sinker, meaning the breaking ball, he was just doing him, he was allowing himself to be beat. And one of the things that Dave Duncan convinced him is throw that sinker the majority of the time, and sure, a couple ground balls will go through for base hits, but more time than not, you're going to get people out.
Holliday, a ground ball to short, and a force play at second. The Cardinals, though, tied up again with 2 out RBIs. It's 4-4 after 2. Sports Midwest, presented by Kia Motors. To learn more, visit kia.com. And right now, Jack in the Box is offering a variety of menu items and letting people choose any three for only $3 plus tax. One of the great things about this job is the chance to visit with the all-time greats and one of the best ever in the business, Bob Gibson, the Hall of Famer, is with us. Always great to see you. How are you?
Thank you. I'm doing well.
Nice to be back in town?
Yes, it is. I was here on opening day and hadn't been back since, but it's always nice to come back.
How often do you watch the game? I mean, do you sit there and follow the Cardinals? Will you watch it much, or is it something that, hey, if you're there, yeah, I'll go to the game?
No, I have satellite with just about everything that's up there. And I watch all of the Cardinal games except the ones on Saturday and Sunday. Of course, you can't get Saturday and Sunday unless you get the other team's broadcast.
Okay.
And so I watch mostly all of the Cardinal games. I don't pay much attention to other games.
You know, tell us about your relationship with Tony La Russa, because, you know, here's a guy that is just an incredible manager. We've seen him with this great run, and you're down in spring training. You have dinners with Tony all the time. What's it like, your relationship with number 10 down there?
You know, it's really strange, because when Tony first came to the Cardinal organization, he didn't trust too many people.
Right.
And I was one of them. And why he didn't trust me, I had no idea. We didn't get along very well, and something happened. I'm not sure what it was, but we got together one day, and I think we must have gone out and had dinner and had a couple of drinks, and we got into an argument, and he argued and I argued, and he wouldn't back down, I wouldn't back down, and I think we found a respect for each other. Yes, and we've been pretty good buddies since then.
That's great. Bob Gibson is with us. Have you seen the statue that they've given away? Is it up to your standard, you think?
You know, it's really funny. I was talking about that. Everybody's got one. I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, really?
I have not seen it yet.
We have to get you one. I think we have one up here in the booth. Let me reach for it and see if I can't find it. This is Bobby Abreu, and the count is 2 balls and 2 strikes. So it's Bob Gibson statue night, and unfortunately for Bob, who the statue is named after, and of course, this is why we're all here, he hasn't seen the actual statue. So here it is.
I must have tripped. I'm laying on the ground.
Oh, now I got it.
Oh, there we go.
Not bad. There's a base hit up the middle. Let's turn that thing around. There we go.
There you go. That's better that way.
What do you think?
Well, it looks like I just threw a slider. That's what it was.
Is that right? You can tell? That's a slider.
Yeah. It's really funny. I was talking to somebody one day, and he says, you know, with that follow-through, this is some high school coach or college coach. He says, with that follow-through, he says, anybody ever try to correct that on you? I said, no. He says, well, why not? I said, well, I got about 10 gold gloves. That's why.
Why would they, right? It slowly hit to third, out at second, and no play at first. Now, let's take a look at your ceremonial first pitch, if you don't mind.
Oh,
now
we got to talk about
when you came into the booth, you said, my rotator, it's really hurt. So what happened here, Bob?
Well, I told Al that I've had a torn rotator for about 4 years. He said, you never really had any excuses about things. I said, well, no. But I figured that I would never throw a ball again, so there was no sense in getting it fixed.
The surgery, right.
Well, here I am throwing a ball out. I go, oh, my goodness.
Bob Gibson is with us, and it's his statue night here at the ballpark, and it's a sold-out crowd, and that hurts. That hit Kendry Morales, so Penny hits his first man, and remember, Morales, first time up, singled and scored, so runners at first and second. Speaking of pitching inside and hitting guys, you have said time and again, you weren't trying to hit guys, but you would pitch inside.
Yeah, I pitched inside, and I wasn't concerned. I think today guys are afraid to pitch inside because they're afraid that they're going to hit the hitter. But I wasn't concerned about hitting the hitter, and so I would pitch inside anyway. And I figured if the ball goes in and hits them, tough. It's up to them to try to get out of the way of it. And so I was very effective inside. Every once in a while you are going to hit somebody, but you can't be afraid of that.
No. And it's crazy when you think about all the warnings that are given out now, and the umpires almost, take policing the game away from the players and instead of letting the players decide it for themselves and how you pitch inside and how you retaliate.
Well, you say take away from the players, but you mean take away from the pitcher. Because when you tell a pitcher he can't pitch inside, then you're taking away half of his arsenal. Because
no doubt.
Pitching inside is what you have to do to keep the guy from going out. And most guys like to get their arms out and hit that ball out away from him. And the only way you can keep them from going out there is to pitch inside. And every once in a while, you're going to hit somebody. But when the umpire tells you you can't pitch in there, the hitter knows you can't pitch in there, he's going to lean out there and he's going to beat your brains out.
And you can't let that happen.
I couldn't let it happen.
And the warnings today, we always talk about during the telecast. We always say that would drive Bob Gibson crazy. Would it drive you crazy if the umpires, warned you when you were playing and you accidentally hit a guy and all of a sudden they warn you?
I got warned for hitting a guy. Actually, I didn't even hit him. I threw inside. What happened? We were in San Francisco, and I did hit a guy, and I think I hit him on purpose because they used to throw a block and flood all the time, and I used to retaliate. So I hit a guy in San Francisco, and I was intentionally trying to get him. And then I got into Los Angeles the next weekend, and I threw inside to somebody, and the umpire came out, and he says, "I'm going to fine you $50. And I said, "For what?" He said, "For throwing at a guy." I said, "I wasn't throwing at the guy." He says, "Well, you're going to get fined $50. Well, the commissioner sent me a letter for $50, and I said, "I'm not going to pay it. I'm going to get an attorney, and I'm going to fight it because I wasn't throwing." He finally said, just forget it. Just don't do it again.
Sure. And that was it.
And that was it.
Now, I've always wanted to ask you this. Albert Pujols right now, arguably the best hitter in the game. How would you, Bob Gibson, approach pitching to Albert Pujols?
I don't know that you have a certain way. Right now, I've been watching Albert, and Albert is pressing. The team is not scoring any runs, and Albert is pressing. He's swinging at pitches that he never ordinarily swings at. Right now, I'd be reluctant to throw him a strike. Until he started swinging at strikes, I wouldn't throw him one. But when he's swinging the bat very well, it's difficult to pitch to him.
Does he remind you of anybody you faced?
Not really. No.
He's kind of in a league all by himself?
Yeah, well, you can say that, but I don't know that you can really compare. The guys are different, and they're playing in different eras. I couldn't compare him to Hank Aaron or Willie Mays because he doesn't remind me of either one of them. Is he a good ball player? Absolutely. And would I like to have him on my team? Absolutely.
You going to stick around one more half inning for us?
Sure.
That's great. Bob Gibson. Look at this. Great Bob Gibson, kind enough to stop on by and say hello, and I know it's a treat for the fans at home to hear from Bob. And they were just showing highlights of Bob in the Jumbotron here at the ballpark. And you were noticing how many pitches were away in your highlights. Everybody always says that you're a guy pitched inside.
Yeah, the inside was for effect only. I pitched away, and then that's pretty much the way you get guys out. If you continue to pitch inside, guys will beat your brains out. That's if you don't come in off the plate. And if you come in off the plate, it's a ball.
The amazing stat here, 251 wins, complete games, 255. And you just don't see guys complete games anymore. Does that bother you? And number two, why do you think that is?
Well, the game is different today than it was when I was playing. And I completed a lot of ball games because I was a pretty good hitter, and Red would hesitate to take me out for a pinch hitter.
That's in the hole. Tough play. Look at this. Ibar, and he gets Pujols by a half step. It's a heck of a play.
But, you know, the game is played differently, and they don't really put any emphasis on a pitcher completing a ball game or pitching 9 innings. They got these guys that, you know, they got some kind of stat called
quality start.
Quality start, man. A quality start is when you win. Pitch 6 innings, and then another guy comes in and pitch 2 innings, and then another guy comes in and pitch the end of it. And we didn't have that. And that's the way they play the game today. I don't say there's anything wrong with it, but when they had emphasis on pitching complete ball games, that's what we did.
Sure. What keeps you busy now? What gets you going? What gets your juices flowing?
Well, it's really tough to get my juices flowing. I make a
lot of people are saying, yeah, that's right, Bob. That's me too.
I make a few appearances. I do card shows, make some speeches every once in a while. But what I do best is sit in front of the television set. I am really good at that.
A lot of people are really good at that, too. Bob Gibson is with us, and are you headed to Cooperstown with Whitey going in?
I am. I'll be in Cooperstown, and looking forward to it. And congratulations to Whitey. You know, I was on the panel for several years where Whitey's name came up, and we'd vote, and people would talk about how great Whitey was and what he meant to the ball games. And then they have the vote, and he wouldn't get like, what happened to all of this stuff they were talking about? Nobody would vote for it, but I'm glad he got in.
And you see Tony La Russa unhappy, looks like, with that strike zone, and a called third strike there on Colby Rasmus, and here is David Freese. What's it like when you go to Cooperstown? I'd love to be a fly on the wall listening to the Hall of Famers behind closed doors. What are those conversations like?
Well, you know, I can't tell you what those conversations are like. We have that dinner on Sunday after the induction, and which is really some kind of a dinner. It's really nice, and everybody gets up, and not everyone, but a lot of people get up and they speak their piece and they say whatever it is on their mind. And it's just a lot of fun, but if I tell you, I got to kill you.
So keep it to yourself then, please.
Yeah.
Keep it to yourself. 1 ball, 1 strike. Bob Gibson with us. This is the St. Louis and David Freese. I've always wanted to ask you this. Who's the guy that was the toughest for you to face?
Oh, I don't know. The toughest hitter is a guy that doesn't swing at a lot of pitches. He has a very small strike zone. And for me, it'd have to be a left-hand hitter. Not a guy that hits home runs, because those guys swing a lot.
Sure.
They swing at everything. But a guy that takes a lot of pitches and he works to count to 3 and 2, and I have a pretty good chance I may or may not walk him. And usually that's the guy who was the toughest for me.
No doubt. St. Louis's 2 favorite destinations, one great price. It's the Cardinals Six Flags and Double Play Combo, and you can get your Double Play Combo at Cardinals.com. You had a great synergy with your catcher, Tim McCarver, and you get a chance now to watch Yadier Molina. Defensively, he's pretty darn good.
He's one of the best. I've watched him call games. They show him giving signals and what have you. And I've watched his position behind home plate. He's up relatively close behind the hitter. You don't want a catcher that's way back, because when he catches the ball, usually it's down too low for the strike zone. But the guy that is right up behind the hitter gets you a lot of strikes, and he's right there.
That's interesting, because we haven't brought that point up. We always talk about his great arm, but positioning of the catcher. with Yachty, yeah, you're right. He is up on the plate more times than not. We even saw earlier where a follow-through on a bat caught him.
Oh, yeah.
You know, he got hit on top of the head.
And then when the catcher is back farther, then that means that the umpire is back farther, too.
1-1 pitch. That's a fair ball. And Freese on his way to third. They're going to wave him in. Now, Oquendo will hold him up late, and he's back in safely at third. So a double for Yadier Molina, and runners at second and third in this 4-4 game. And it brings in Skip Schumacher. Is there a guy now that you like to watch pitch? Like, to me, if Tim Lincecum comes on the mound just because of his oddities and how he throws the ball, I like to watch him pitch.
Well, I really don't get to watch too many of those other guys. I watch the Cardinals pretty much more than anybody else, and I just like Carpenter. I just like the way he goes about it. He reminds me pretty much. Of course, he's got more pitches than I had.
Sure.
But I like the way he go about his job. I do wish that every once in a while he'd set somebody on their butt, but he doesn't do that. And with his good stuff, his good control, and one of the reasons the guys swinging at him all the time is because of his control. Well, with his good control, every so often, if he just set somebody back a little bit, they'd be a little more reluctant to go diving out there, and I think he'd be a little more effective. But I really like the way he pitches.
He's got nasty stuff.
Good stuff.
Bob Gibson with us, and we mentioned how the Hall of Famers get to go to spring training, and it's a treat for the players. Do the players come up to you, Bob, and ask you questions? Are they intimidated to do so, or you know, are you available for them? Those kind of things, because I know the players always say, "Hey, it's unbelievable. There's Lou Brock. There's Bob Gibson." But do they come up to you and ask you questions, or they kind of say, "Well, I don't want to bother those guys"?
No, you don't find many guys. Yes, I know exactly what you mean. You don't find many guys just walking up and asking you questions. You make yourself available and you sit there, and sooner or later, one of those guys will work his way over to you. He'll sit two spaces away, and then one space, and next he's right next to you, and he'll start asking you a few questions. And once you start talking to them, other guys see it, and then they'll move over and they'll start asking questions. But most of these guys today, I guess,
Brad Kelly, deep left, grand slam, for Brad Kelly. Tell him how to swing the bat, too?
He's getting the most out of that, too.
Oh, yeah. How about that home run drop?
You know, I've had discussions with a lot of guys, baseball people, about a ball that you just get over for a strike.
Yeah.
They ask me, "You ever just throw a ball over for a strike?" No, I didn't. Why not? Because that's the reason why.
Right. They want the curtain call.
I don't think so. Pitchers don't come back for curtain calls.
He came back. Lopez to deep right. And that ball. It's a home run. Back to back. Bob, he came out for the curtain call, and most people were watching that, and Lopez gets it out. I don't know if you can leave. You're a good luck charm now. And Mike Scioscia out there to talk about whether or not that's a home run. And they may use instant replay. Let's take a look at the pitch here. Looks to be a home run.
Yeah, I don't know what the question was there.
was wondering if he was thinking it was off the top of the wall, and then it came back in play, and we saw that yesterday in the game. And they are going to have replay. Talking about changes in the game, this is a big one.
You know, I don't mind this.
You like to see it.
I want them to get it right.
Exactly.
Get it right. And this takes no more time than some of those guys that step in and step out of the box 4 or 5 or 6 times.
So the Cardinals get the grand slam from Penny, and then a solo home run, Felipe Lopez. They're having some fun tonight.
Well, this game looks like one of those games that whoever hits last wins.
Yes.
I've had a few of those too,
So once again, here are the rules and home run replay review. Now, the managers, I think that's important. In the middle there, it says managers cannot demand a replay review. So they can't. It's not like football and you're throwing out the challenge. But certainly, I think you can influence an umpire by saying, hey, but let's get it right. And that's what we're going to see here.
Some umpires will accept that, and others will be offended by it, which I don't know that you should ever be offended by getting it right. But,
you see Socia in the top, and Cardinals the bottom of that screen, and all of a sudden it's added up to a 9-4 lead. So just over the wall. There is a space, I think it's about 1.5 feet, 2 feet, just beyond the wall.
Yeah, it went behind and then came back out.
Yep. So 9 hits for the Cardinals against their former teammate, Joel Pinheiro. 2 outs. Here's Ludwig. The home run by Penny was a grand slam. Solo shot by Felipe Lopez, his second on the homestand. And the great Bob Gibson is with us and bringing us some luck. Ludwig has a couple of base hits and an RBI tonight. You know, you're one of the guys that literally has changed a game. They changed the game because of you and lowering the mound. I mean, is that brought up to you nonstop?
Yeah, I hear it a lot, and I don't know that it was because of me. Period. That year, there were a lot of pitchers who had outstanding years as far as earned run average was concerned, and I think that helped to influence them. But certainly, I had something to do with it, but sure. I don't know that it was strictly me.
How about grand slams? Any for you?
I had 2.
Did you remember those?
Oh, absolutely.
You don't forget those.
Pitchers don't forget hits. I mean, home runs especially. I had 2 grand slams. I had 26 home runs altogether.
26, yeah.
24 during the regular season, 2 during the World Series. And I took pride in hitting. I used to come out, and whenever I got a chance, I would take extra hitting, because back in those days when you pitched 8 or 9 innings, you could really help yourself a lot. And they were less apt to pinch hit for you if you could swing the bat. Usually my games were 2-1 or 3-2 because I was always pitching against Koufax or Drysdale or Marshall or somebody. It was always the other team's best pitcher, and so we weren't going to get a lot of runs.
Right.
So it helped to be able to hit a little bit.
Traveling this season? Well, you can take us with you. Subscribe to MLB.tv today to see every Cardinals game live or on demand on your computer. And visit Cardinals.com for details. MLB.tv, baseball is everywhere. We'll get an extended visit with Bob Gibson. This is some fun. And Matt Holliday is the hitter. Holliday, 9th man to come to the plate. 9-4 Cardinals. Cardinals have scored 2 in the first, 2 in the second, and 5 in this inning. This should do it, though. And Bob, we can't thank you enough for coming on by.
Thank you. I enjoyed it.
Love having you. Anytime. It's the great Bob Gibson. Brad Penny with Gibby in the booth.
must be hurt with a big lead, 9-4.
Yeah. With all the excitement, it's 9-4. Cardinals leading the Angels by 5 runs, and you see that there's no pitch out there. Brad Penny went out to warm up, and apparently something happened. Let's take a look at these warm-up tosses. These are the last 2 for Penny, and Molina picked up something here. Is maybe this pitch? And something was not right with Brad Penny, and he did not argue. The medical staff came out, Tony La Russa came out, and Penny is through for the night. So we'll have a change here for the Cardinals, and it's guest night here in the booth. That's Mitchell Boggs, who's getting loose for the Cardinals. And they'll give him plenty of time to get loose. And for 15 years, this guy was a major league player, and that's, of course, Brian Jordan, and 7 of those years here in St. Louis. Great to see you again.
Oh, good to be here, Dan.
And you're a busy man. We're going to talk baseball, but you're a busy guy because this book is getting published.
Yes, it is.
And this book has been published.
Has been published. This is my first book. I call Told You I Could Play, and my second book, which will be released June 16th, Overcoming the Fear of Baseball. And it's basically about my childhood experiences, and hopefully I can inspire young kids. My mom was a teacher, and I started my foundation in 1998, giving scholarships to underprivileged kids, and I have a literacy program and a health and fitness program. So it's all about giving back, Dan.
We're going to talk about those books. We're going to take a quick time out as Boggs continues to throw and gets loose. Brian Jordan with us, and it's 9-4. So 15 years in the big leagues, and 7 of those right here in St. Louis for number 3, Brian Jordan. And back in 1996, he had 104 RBIs. And looking at those highlights, looking at you now, you haven't changed. You're in pretty good shape. You could get back out there and start to play.
You know what? I have a 16-year-old son, and I got to stay in shape because he's always trying to body slam me and tell me how strong he is. So I definitely keep up with the weights.
Now, does he play football too?
Yes, he plays football, basketball, and baseball.
Now, I want to get back to these books. What made you think, you know what, maybe I want to do a children's book? How did this all come about?
Well, you know what, my mom was a teacher, so I watch her pour her heart and soul into giving back to underprivileged kids. As you see the ball lined down the right field. Fair ball, by the way.
That's some fair ball, and in there with a double is Napoli. And Napoli is already homered here tonight as well. So you decide to write the books.
Yeah, exactly. My mom just poured her heart and soul into giving back to kids, and I started my foundation in '98. And what better way to give back to kids and share your childhood experiences? And one morning about 4 o'clock, I just woke up with this idea in my head, and I wrote it down, and I called my mom the next morning, and she liked the book. That was my I Told You I Can Play, so it turned out great.
That's great. Here's a little bouncer right side. And Brandon Wood retired, so productive out. Napoli moves from second to third. And this is our call to the bullpen presented by Chevrolet. And Mitchell Boggs is in for Brad Penny. Brian Jordan, by the way, had 7 Grand Slams. 7 Grand Slams in your career. And there's your numbers, over 1,400 games. And you're here tonight to sign autographs, and
yes.
you're going to promote your book tomorrow at Ozzy's Restaurant.
That's right. From 9 to 12 in the morning, I'll be at Ozzy's Restaurant signing my children's book.
And tell me about your time here in St. Louis. I mean, you had great years in Atlanta. You played with Dodgers, Texas, but majority of your career right here in town. So what did it mean to be a Cardinal for you?
I'll tell you what, if I could have, I wish I could have spent my whole career here in St. Louis, because I love the fans here. It's no better place to play than St. Louis as far as fan support. And I wish I could have played my career here, but I was fortunate enough to go to some other good organizations like Atlanta and L.A. for a couple of years. And just a great experience here. And this is my first time back to see this new stadium.
Really?
I'm
This is the
blown
first
away.
time,
It
huh?
is. It is. And I'm blown away. I got to get back here more often. It's like I was here yesterday because the fans. It was fun autographing for them out in the outfield, and what a great time.
There's a fly ball out to left. Holiday is under it. Here comes a throw to the plate. Offline, and a run scores. So that cuts the lead to 9-5. You know, back in '96, you guys were so close. You're up 3 games to 1 on the Braves, and the Braves just blew you out of the water. I mean, that was over.
Tell you what, I was in the clubhouse during that series, and I told the guys, I said, look, we have to win in St. Louis. We cannot go back to Atlanta, because they had the veteran pitchers, of course, with Glavine and Maddox and Smokes. That experience would just take over if we went back to Atlanta. And unfortunate for us, you know, we lost the lead. They came back in that last game here in St. Louis, and we had to take it to Atlanta, and didn't work out well for us.
No, it didn't. No, it didn't. Brian Jordan is with us. You know, to be able to play a sport and be a professional is one thing. In one sport, you did 2 sports. How were you able to do that? How was your body able to hold up when you're playing football and baseball? It's just, to me, it just blows me away.
I'll tell you what, it started when I was a kid. I mean, I played 3 sports in high school and little leagues. I loved football, basketball, baseball, and I played year-round, every year, didn't miss a year. And my dreams were to be able to go to college and play a couple sports and hopefully get a shot in the professionals. And I was fortunate, blessed enough that I got that opportunity. A lot of young kids today, they don't get that opportunity. A lot of coaches try to turn them to one sport in high school and concentrating on one sport. But I'm one of those guys that I believe have fun in every sport. And, you know, you never know what's going to happen.
Do you think you had a football mentality playing baseball?
Yes, and that's what got me in trouble. That's what caused me so many injuries, because I was one of those guys that if an organization is going to spend money on me, then I'm going to give 110% every time I'm out there on the field. If it means running into the wall trying to make a catch to save the inning for my pitcher, then I would do that. And a lot of my injuries came from that. I broke my collarbone standing in front of a ball at first base, where a lot of guys would jump off to the side, you know, just diving all over the place, taking out guys at second base. I think that's the way you play the game. But unfortunately for me, I played too hard and got injured a lot. And I think that's why St. Louis didn't sign me when I was a free agent, because I just played the game too hard, and they didn't want me to get hurt and lose money.
I agree with that. And I have to ask you this question. What's better? Guy going over the middle and you crush him, or hitting a home run and crushing a baseball?
You know what? That's tough, man. I have to take the guy going across the middle.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say that.
That's just like a guy at second base trying to turn a double play. I mean, if I'm coming, I'm going to get you.
Do you remember, like, the best hits that you had in football? I mean, do you remember the guys that you hit and you're saying, oh, yeah,
you know what?
That's one I'm not going to forget.
I don't remember the best hits, but I remember when I got hit the hardest.
So you remember when you got hit?
That's right. Trying to tackle Christian Okoye, who breaks open through the middle, 270 pounds coming at you. And trying to hit him was just, whew.
I remember the hit with Steve Atwater and Christian Okoye.
Wow. That's
know what? The hit of all hits.
And let me tell you the story, because I played against Okoye the week before. And as he broke through the middle, I was saying, should I hit him high or should I hit him low? And I decided to hit him low. And the next week, Atwater just flattens him up high. And I was kicking myself after that. I knew I should have hit him high.
Exactly. 2 balls and a strike here on Howie Kendrick. And this is interleague play from Busch Stadium. Brian Jordan is our guest. Mitchell Boggs filling in now for the starter Brad Penny. It's 9-5. Now you're doing some TV work with the Braves.
Yes, I am. Pre-game, post-game shows.
You like
Brave it? Lives. You know what? I like it. I was fortunate enough in 2006 to play my last game in Atlanta, and FSN asked for me to give it a shot, and I gave it a shot. Never thought I would be broadcasting, but it turned out pretty good.
Yes, it did. There's a base hit into right, and it may be the situation like Bob Gibson was talking about. Whoever hits last may win this game. We've got a lot of hits.
Right. I mean, this is a high-scoring game so far, and just unfortunate for the Cardinals to lose Brad Penny, who was pitching pretty good. Helped his cause with that grand slam, that's for sure.
No doubt. Now, you were still playing when Albert Pujols came into the league, and you were still playing for a number of years. You know, tell me about Pujols and what other guys around the league are saying about Albert Pujols.
Well, if Albert Pujols stays healthy, to me, he's the best baseball player to ever play. I mean, I love his work ethic. You know, he's a complete player. You know, everyone talks about his offense, but he has worked so hard at first base. I think he's become probably a Gold Glove first baseman, and that's in his future. It's not just this year, but he continues to get better. He impresses me with his defense, and he's one of those old-time players. He gives it his all. He gives 110% every game, and that's why I like him so much. And he respects the game of baseball. He loves playing it, and he's a very humble guy, and that's the best part about him.
I want to go back to you playing 2 different sports. What did the Falcons say? And we talked a little bit about what the Cardinals said, but what did the Falcons say about that?
Well, you know what, the Falcons, they were upset. They didn't want me to leave and go play baseball because I was having a lot of success on the football field, but the Cardinals definitely didn't want me to play football if they were going to invest money in me. So it was time to make that big decision after 3 years in the NFL, and I made a good decision.
No doubt.
I had so much fun here for my 7 years with the Cardinals, and it was, you know, a great experience, both with the fans, with the organization. The Hall of Fame was here. They made it so much fun, and to be able to play with Ozzie Smith, who was my mentor, and it was incredible. And my producers are saying the TV guys here are awesome. I love them. Tom Nee and my man Mike Heller. I miss those guys.
That's all they. You know, you just made their week, their month, probably the season by saying that.
Oh man.
Yeah, Mike just said you're hired. You're in. Here's a 2-1 pitch to Abreu, and it's hit out of play. I'm curious in your thoughts about this. You were on very good teams in Atlanta, but yet during that incredible run, only one time, and you weren't with them then, you were with the Cardinals, did they win a World Series title? Why do you think that was?
You know what? And I always tell people, I mean, Bobby Cox is one of the greatest managers, and a lot of times managers, they get to that big game and they manage with their heart. And with the great pitching staff that Bobby Cox always had, he didn't have a lot of power pitchers. You had John Smoltz, but you had Glavine and Maddox, who were, you know, guys who had great command, but they couldn't blow guys away. And I felt like you needed power pitchers to win in the World Series. You look at the Roger Clemens and those guys who won for the Yankees, the Randy Johnsons, Kirk Schillings who won in Arizona. They were power pitchers. When you get to that big dance, the World Series, you have to have them on your staff. And the Braves just had one guy, and that was John Smoltz.
Little bouncer up the middle. Lopez to his left. Nice pick by Pujols. There's a good
Speaking of defense.
That's right. Brian, great to see you.
Hey, Dan, thank you, buddy.
Book signing tomorrow at Ozzy's.
At Ozzy, 9 a.m. to 12.
Sounds good. Schnooks this date in baseball history. That was back in 1985, May 21st of 85. And we've got a 9-5 ball game, and we're only in the fourth. And the Angels will go to their bullpen. The Cardinals have had to do that because Brad Penny leaves with a strained lat. So it's not a shoulder, not an elbow, apparently nothing with his arm, but the lat right underneath the arm on the side.
Well, Pinheiro had a rough start. Trevor Bell will come into this ball game. Now, he was recalled just a few days ago, and he made 3 starts at Salt Lake, so he should be a little better. Didn't have a lot of time there as he started the season on the disabled list with a strained hamstring, so he did make 3 starts at AAA before being recalled.
And now you get a little concerned, obviously, with Brad Penny. And how much does this linger? Is this something that will affect him for months, weeks, days? Who knows? 1 ball, 1 strike here on Albert Pujols. A high pop fly into left. Well, Fox Sports Midwest celebrates 5 years of service for the Pujols Family Foundation. Tune in tomorrow for live coverage of the Cardinals' special pregame ceremony and watch an inspiring interview with Albert Pujols. You can do that right now at foxsportsmidwest.com.
Not quite the game we thought. The Cardinals are on top.
Got it. When Pujols was walking in the dugout there, it looked like he was holding his shoulder almost. Rasmus, a 2-run triple early on in this game. How about the grand slam out? Brad Penny. And you know he's hurting with that big lead, 9-4, and then he has to leave the game.
Last thing you want to do, you a couple innings away from qualifying for the win, but obviously you have to pay attention and get him out of there and see if they can calm that area down. Trevor's grandfather, Bob Bell, spent 25 years on Chicago television as Bozo the Clown. And Trevor himself, an experienced actor. He's appeared in television commercials since he was 8 years old. That's where he's from. Birthplace, North Hollywood.
2-2. It was fun visiting with both Bob Gibson and Brian Jordan.
Bob's the best, isn't he?
He was great. Had a fun conversation with him on and off the air.
Did you bring up the fact you talked to Ernie the other day?
It was the one thing I meant to ask him about, and I did.
Well, the innings were long enough.
We got into a lot of stuff, believe me. Here's a 3-2 pitch to Colby Rasmus. A strikeout for Bell. Don't miss the Eagles at Busch Stadium on Thursday, June 24th. Field seats available for $99, 4 packs for $255, and 6 packs for $198. All fees included in ticket prices. It's the Eagles at Busch Stadium on Thursday, June 24th.
They're not flying solo, are they?
Well, I'm sure they'll have an opening act, but the Eagles will be the prime ticket. 2 outs, nobody on. Here's David Freese. You told me yesterday the lefty Pinto for the Marlins was a big fan of Johnny Cash, and now tonight you're telling me about this pitcher being in commercials.
Commercial.
And his grandpa was Bozo the Clown.
Yeah, in Chicago. I'll make sure all the Bozos don't start claiming Trevor as their grandson or son. Hey, Corky here, right? You grew up with Corky the Clown?
I didn't pay attention to it that much, Al. I was
watching Cardinal baseball.
Watching baseball. That and Johnny Bench with his show. This Week in Baseball.
I know what you
Mel
meant.
Allen.
Guys like David Freese get a kick now. I've seen some of those old home run derbies.
There's a base hit. Ball just jumps off his bat, doesn't it?
Fun to see.
Dress head to toe in Cardinals colors, beginning with a Cardinals cap, provided courtesy of U.S. Cellular. Available to 25,000 fans ages 16 and older Saturday, June 5th. Get yours by purchasing tickets at Cardinals.com.
I get the feeling that this game, even though the Cardinals have a comfortable 4-run lead, they need to add on.
2 outs, runner at second. Molina takes the ball upstairs. Yachty with a double tonight. And Cardinals, runners in scoring position, 4 for 6.
Back in their 5-run third inning, it was this scenario: 2 out base hits, got all that. There was 2 outs and nobody on before they scored, and then they scored 5 runs. So
a 2-0 pitch. Molina in the air, right field. Abreu over and makes a sliding pitch in foul territory. Cardinals will strand a runner. It's 9-5 as we move to the 5th. Former Cardinal, our AT trivia question. Chuck Finley had 165 wins. Chuck kept himself in great condition and was very effective for the Cardinals in that stretch run of the season that he was here. Here's Torrey Hunter and second inning of work from Mitchell Boggs. The Cardinals right now, this might be a situation where you would like to use one of the other right-handers out there, like Hawksworth, but Hawksworth pitched extensively the other day, so you would figure that he's probably unavailable for tonight. So you got to ask Boggs to be stretched out a little bit here.
Remember, Boggs pitched a couple innings 2 days ago. Hawksworth was in that same game, but they got roughed up a little bit, so he gave up a lot more pitches.
Right. So Jeep Fox tracks.
Location, a little slider out away from him. Got underneath it, pops it up. This is going to be a decision for the Cardinal bullpen. Up to the official score to determine who would get the win if they continue to maintain the lead. But you know, Dave Duncan's got back of his mind, he's worried about Penny, and yet he's trying to make sure he has enough arms for this weekend. Miller got up a little bit.
In the air, out to left. Holiday. And here is Juan Rivera. Fastball and a strike in 96 from Boggs.
The first time I saw Rivera, I thought he was pretty overmatched at the major league level. Gone on to have a pretty good career.
0-2 with 2 outs. Nine to 5 St. Louis. 2 runs in the first, 2 in the second, 5 in the third, highlighted by the Brad Penny grand slam.
Sinker.
And the 0-2.
Good pitch right there. 96 miles an hour, movement down and in. Same pitch, another sinker.
And a broken bat. Freeze with time and makes a throw. Midway through 5. And the Cardinals up 9-5. Saturday baseball, Cubs at Rangers. And note the start time here, prime time, 6 p.m. Central. The Cubs at the Texas Rangers. It's presented by Budweiser. And The Cardinals about hit the Angels 10-7. They lead it 9-5. Here's Skip Schumacher.
Back to the final out. You see the ball come up in there. David Freed reaches in, trying to make sure you got the right grip. You normally always want to throw a four-seam pitch because you have a truer, but that looks more like a two-seamer right there. But either way, and then he gets underneath it, but threw a strike over there for the final out.
Joe Mather has moved to the on-deck circle. And a strikeout of Schumacher to start the bottom of the fifth. 6, a serious number. Cardinals score 6. You get a 20-ounce coffee, 5 a frozen drink for just a quarter. Next day at On the Run of Mobile, win or lose. Cardinals score 6. You score 25-cent drinks and On the Run. So Joe Mather will be the pinch hitter for Boggs as Mott starts to throw in the Cardinal bullpen. It's got the feel of an American League game tonight, doesn't it?
He sure does.
Here's a 1-1 pitch to Mather. And a strike, 1-2.
Well, 3 for 10 this year as a pinch hitter.
And Mather gets underneath it, and a fly ball out to left center. Torrey Hunter, the Gold Glover, puts it away. 2 outs. As Bell goes hard, get on the hands here of Mather to cheap box tracks, and got in just enough.
Some improvement there. Gives him both sides of the plate. Looks like he's got the ability to keep the ball down and keep it out of the middle.
And now it's Felipe Lopez, who is homered tonight. He and Penny went back-to-back as Penny hit the grand slam. And that's a strike to Felipe.
Third home run for Felipe, but the first this year left-handed.
Also had a triple. And the umpires made the call initially as a home run, and replay showed that it was. They made the right call.
And Mike Scioscia came out and asked for help. They got together. First time they've had a replay here at this stadium. And within 2 minutes, they got the play correct.
Two and two.
You'd think being an actor, he would have a slower pace. Stay on the big screen a little longer.
Get a little bit, He's got a nice pace.
It's quick. Get the ball. Sends a positive message to the hitter that he's not afraid.
2-2 pitch. And a called third strike on Felipe Lopez. Cardinals baseball is brought to you by Lumiere Casino. Your next home could be on the house. River City Casino and Lumiere Place Casino and Hotels is giving away a $250,000 home plus 18-room makeovers now through July 2nd. Visit rivercity.com for details. And by AT&T, find out what's possible with the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, rethink possible. It's a 9-5 lead for the Cardinals.
A little one all bundled up. Pitcher or hitter? What do you think? Future Cardinal.
Future Cardinal, definitely.
Mott saying, I hope it's a couple years away. It's a great opportunity for, Box took advantage of it, getting a couple innings. Now Mott can come out here, stretch out a little bit. Cardinals do have the off day on Monday. So Jason appearing for the 18th time. Boggs kind of established a little control of this game. This is an opportunity, you can, not that there's, every time you pitch there's pressure, but an opportunity where you can work a little bit more on that breaking ball with a little more bit of a cushion.
And a 1-2 pitch. Strikeout. Couldn't pull the trigger. Napoli looks at a called third strike. What's on Tap is presented by Budweiser, the great American lager. On the air at 12:30 tomorrow. Cardinals and the Angels. 12:30 tomorrow on Fox Sports Midwest. And after that, our next telecast will be Tuesday night from the West Coast. We'll be in San Diego. Tomorrow will be Loesch and Scott Kazmir. Kazmir 2-4. Loesch is 1-3. Here's Brandon Wood.
I think Kyle Loesch isn't capable of going deep into a game, but that's the reason why this game's a little bit concerning in the bullpen. If Loesch doesn't take it well into the game, you leave yourself a little bit vulnerable.
Here's a 2-0 pitch with one out, nobody on. Slowly hit to Schumacher. 2 outs. Spoke with Kyle Loesch. There he is on the left next to Carpenter before the game tonight. And we were talking about how many two-seamers he threw in the last start. And he said basically he got a couple of strikeouts with a changeup. But he said, look, that's my pitch. I've got to get it right, and I'm going to pound it. And I'm just going to keep throwing it until we get it right. And that's what he did. Makes a lot of sense, doesn't it?
It makes all the sense in the world. It makes so much sense that why did he figure that out in the 8th start?
Yeah, he said that just, he couldn't really get on top of it and didn't have the sink that he wanted. But again, winless, he said, that's my pitch that I got to have success with, and went back to it.
And then kind of the old school was you go to spring training, that's all you would throw. As you perfect your fastball. And you figure out whether it's 2, 4 seam, but how to make it, throw it up and in, down and in, up and away, down and away. Find that pinpoint control before you ever look at a secondary pitch.
And a strikeout for Mott. 2 strikeouts in the inning. That was a breaking pitch there.
That was Bell hitting for himself.
What do you think of interleague play? U.S. Cellular, and 50% say they like it.
50% said they don't like it or don't care.
That's another way to look at it. Kansas City leading Colorado and Minnesota all over Milwaukee 13-0.
I think they're a little disappointed with their start in Milwaukee.
Ooh. Big time. Here's Ludwig.
It's supposed to show you this game's so much about pitching. Milwaukee thought they recognized their problem with pitching, thought they corrected it, and still haven't.
Signed Doug Davis, Randy Wolf. Suppan has been put into their bullpen. Here's the 0-2 to Ludwig. Just joined us. Brad Penny made the start for the Cardinals, hit a grand slam. And after that, he went to go warm up. And they say he has a sore lat. So it's sore side, and he didn't want to take any more chances and just take it out of this game. Let's hope it's not serious and he'll be all right. 2-2 pitch.
Just hope maybe he stretched out and just kind of got a spasm in there or something, but being overly cautious, which they should be. Decided to call his night.
Check swing, and he went. Strikeout of Ludwig. Then it brings in Holiday. We're in the 6th inning, and it's 9-5 Cardinals. Cardinals picked up 2 in the first, 2 in the second, 5 in the third. It's a grand slam by Penny, and then right after that, Felipe Lopez with a solo home run. Holiday is 0 for 3. Average at .294. Neither starter lasted deep into this game. Pinheiro, on his return to Busch Stadium, was knocked around. Fooled by that pitch.
Good slider from Bell. He struck out 4 in his 2+ innings.
All-Star game will be in Anaheim this year. And a grounder at short, tough play, and stretch it first, and Holiday is out, and here comes Tony. Here he comes.
What'd you think, Dan?
Out.
Thought he was out too. Very close play. Bruce Druckmann.
It's a heck of a play here.
Yeah, he's a very fine shortstop, Ibar. And
now I say safe.
I say safe too.
And he is.
Short hop there. You see who goes. Well, that one pretty close.
Very close play, but we've seen Ibar now in the hole a couple of times. Their shortstop really makes some good plays.
Sosha told me, he said our left side of the infield very good defensively.
Two balls and no strikes. Good pitch. make it 2-1 right on the inside portion of the plate. 3-1.
It works fast and really sets the tone. Nobody's stepping out on him. Slows it down a bit here.
3-1 pitch. Another pop-up off the bat of Pujols. Shallow right. Kendrick makes the play. We're through 6 here at Busch Stadium. And it's 9-5 Cardinals. First appearance at Sportsman's Park in St. Louis. This date back in 1947.
I think the Cardinals had played in Brooklyn prior to that. Kind of a historic day. And
that's it out of play. When you start to think now, what happens if Penny has to miss significant time, and where do the Cardinals go? Who do they turn to?
Well, I've got to tell you that P.J. Walters. Remember, he had his wife gave birth to their first child in spring training, but it was a premature child, so he missed extensive time. He's made 3 or 4 starts and been very impressive at Memphis. Octavino the other day, a former #1 draft pick for the Cardinals, had a 1-hitter through 7 innings. Finished that game, and Dave Duncan has always liked his stuff. So there are some options.
Give me a name too, Al. Lance Lynn.
Lance Lynn was their minor league pitcher of the year a year ago.
Rounder at short. Sunday, June 6th. Pick up a pet bowl for your furry friend. The compliments of Nestle Purina. They're available to 25,000 pet lovers and ages 16 and older. Get yours by purchasing tickets at Cardinals.com.
Reyes warming up the Cardinal bullpen. Scott Shields in the Angels. Mott could get through his second inning of work here in the 7th. And you're pretty, his pitch count is only at 16 right now. You feel like you've got the last 2 innings covered.
And a grounder over at third, and there's 2 outs. So good work here by Jason Mott. Very efficient.
You can throw 2 innings and get. He can do it in few as 18 pitches, but he could do it in just a couple more, and really almost feel like he's had a more efficient 2-inning stint that we've seen sometimes with just 1.
Bobby Abreu with 2 outs and the base is empty. These relievers have really picked up the pace, haven't they?
Sure have. Maybe the guys got tired running around the bases, though.
Nothing in 2.
Abreu's had a very good career. Early in his career, it looked like he was never going to make contact on a breaking ball. He's going to be hitting more than just fastballs. We'll see how he does on this slider. No, we won't.
Two balls, 2 strikes. Abreu with a single and 2 groundouts. Grounder to Pools, underhands to Mott. 2 scoreless innings for the right-hander. In St. Louis. Let's go pitch by pitch, presented by Chevrolet.
Now fastball up in the zone, strike 1 from Mott. You go back out there, down and away, 0-2. Then he tries to overthrow one. There's the breaking ball in the dirt, 2-2. Fastball just rolls over on it. Little ground ball to first. And Mott, 6 up, 6 down. We'll turn it over now in our Hyundai long drive in. Be against Scott Shields.
David Petrides is tonight's merchandise winner. And you can register at Dean Team Hyundai or St. Louis area Hyundai dealers on long drive inning. Good luck to David.
Yeah, we sometimes hear about college coaches abusing pitchers. How about Scott Shields? And he was at Lincoln Memorial University on March 16th, 1996. As you look at his numbers, he pitched 16 innings. They said approximately through 260 pitches in a losing effort.
260.
Yeah, they said his line was 16 innings, 12 hits, 7 runs, 5 earns, 9 walks, 7 strikeouts. He faced 71 batters. And no, he's not a knuckleballer.
It's amazing. $44,111 tonight. Sold out crowd.
No wonder he is able to pitch 16 innings. He has a bachelor's of science degree in kinesiology.
It's been very good for a number of years now for Mike Socha out of their pen.
Yeah, he's almost 8 full seasons coming into this year.
And Colby looking at a call, third strike, second time he has struck out tonight. This season, it's easier than ever to find the seats you want or sell tickets to the games that you can't make. And all you have to do is go to StubHub. It's the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the St. Louis Cardinals. Buy great seats, great service on StubHub all season long. StubHub.com and choose your seats today. David Freese, he has a double tonight. 1 out, the 2-0 pitch. 2-1. See the pitch is seen in the at-bats by David.
A very quick worker.
Hardy's prime cut of the game. Brad Penny with a grand slam.
His 3rd career home run, but grand slam is one you remember.
One out and a runner at first. And here's Yadier Molina. He's grounded out. He has doubled and also flied out.
Span of 5 years, Scott Shields threw 425 innings. That was the most by any reliever in the major leagues.
And that's a foul ball.
Between 04 and 08. He also led the American League in holds 06 to 08, 31 in 08, 31 in 07, 31 in 06.
I had to wonder if Penny hurt himself on that swing that we just saw, the Hardy's prime cut. Who knows? But again, it's a lat issue. Right side and not an arm issue. A 1-1 pitch to Yadi. Instead a check on David Freese. It's really turned into a great story here in town, David Freese.
And his personality hasn't changed one bit.
Houston leading Tampa Bay. That's in the top of the 8th, 2-1. Phillies beat Boston 5-1. Atlanta over Pittsburgh 7-0. Reds have won. They beat the Indians 7-4. Orioles beat Washington 5-3. Bottom of the 8th. Texas leading the Cubbies 2-1. Subway Series in New York. Yankees in the ninth, leading 2-1. Here's a liner. Hunter makes the catch. He'll fire to first. Look at that throw. He made that much closer than it might have been.
And we talked about former Gold Glove winner and had all his momentum coming in and real strong throw. You can see how this corner's eye is that David Freese was more than halfway. He's doing what he should. But then he has to realize as Hunter was in a position to throw and he let go of this ball, that he's got to get back. See all of his momentum falling to the ground to make sure all his momentum is going forward.
Kerry Wood had a strained lat middle of March, and he missed about 7 weeks. So we don't know the severity of this injury to Brad Penny, but he's out. Base hit for Schumacher the other way.
Good game for Schumacher. Now the multi-hit game.
Third time he's been on base. He was intentionally walked to get to Brad Penny, and then Penny made him pay with a grand slam.
Scored 2 runs. Ball stays up a little bit. He likes to hit the ball in the opposite field. Good pitch for him to drive to left field. Don Jay is going to pinch hit here.
He's 7 for 23, 16 games this year, still looking for that first home run. Tom McClellan, who has been the 8th inning man for the Cardinals recently. Then you have Franklin in the 9th. Runners at first and second. And a strike on the outside corner to John Jay.
And if this stays a non-save situation, I don't think we'll see Franklin in the 9th, but
Jay hits it sharply to second, and the Cardinals are through. They have stranded 6 on the night, 2 in this inning. We played 7 from Busch Stadium, the Cardinals 9 and the Angels 5 on Fox Sports Midwest. The Cardinals have a 4-run lead as we move to the 8th, and it's Interleague play 2010. Here's McClellan for the 8th inning, and this will be his 17th appearance. ERA is now under 2, and opponents hitting 185 against him. After the game, it's Cardinals Live broadcasting from the Aqua Bar at Lumiere Place Casino. Interviews, you'll see Tony La Russa live, Pat Barris record and break down the game. U.S. Cellular Cardinals Live after the game on Fox Sports Midwest. And tonight, I believe, is also a Hungo night. Good curveball in there for strike to Torrey Hunter.
Pitched last night is 1 inning, couple strikeouts. It was his 6th consecutive scoreless appearance for his 6th hold last night.
One and two the count. Hunter with a single and a run scored in the 2nd. Fielder's choice in the 3rd and a pop out in the 5th. Ooh, good pitch. Doesn't get the call. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Torrey Hunter considered one of the top defenders in all of baseball.
Mentioned he came in pretty hot. Got a base hit his first time up.
And a breaking ball, pass freeze and into left.
Threw in the left side, a couple steps away from David Freese.
And a leadoff base hit for Torrey Hunter, on base for the 2nd time tonight. Now Kendry Morales. Single and a run scored in the 2nd. It was hit by a pitch in the 3rd and flied out to left. On the air tomorrow, 12:30. Casimir, the lefty, against Kyle Loesch.
Morales, only Angel playing all 43 games. Leads the Angels in total bases, home runs, RBIs.
And a fly ball into left field. Holiday under it and makes the catch. Angels have a right-hander getting loose in the pen. Hunter back to first, and there's one out.
Jason Bulger, right-hander, warming up. There's Jason.
Augie Garrido, the great college coaches, has always talked about how you win an inning to win the game. And he would, and still does, he's the Texas Longhorns head coach, Al, but he talks about even when he's down late, 9-5 situation here, that he would, you know, if he had to, bunt with his cleanup man. I mean, he does things that are unconventional, but hey, he wins games.
I was going to say, you can't argue with his success. Long time at Cal State Fullerton, then he went to Illinois for a while before going to Texas, and always has one of the perennial powerhouses.
And they've got a great team again this year. They might win the national championship. One out, runner at first, and 0-2 the count here on Juan Rivera.
I told you one time, I asked Augie Garrido, and he was with Illinois. I said, what player you had? And look at, he steals him blind. No chance for Molina as McClellan did not look Hunter back. He's been throwing out 60%. I think it'd be more like 80% if pitchers would allow him a chance to throw. That was the stolen base attempt right there.
And now it's Mike Napoli.
Augie Garrido told me, he said that the player that reached the big leagues that he was most surprised about was the Cardinals' Greg Matthews.
And is there a reason why?
I just, he didn't throw hard. As Greg Matthews told me, he said, his number was 53. He said, you know why they call me 53, don't you? Because I'm just like Herbie the Love Bug. We both get in jams and then we get our way out of them, find our way out of them.
What does it have to do with 53?
That was Herbie the Love Bug was number 53.
That's a great story, Al.
That was Herbie was a Volkswagen that had a mind of its own. But that kind of explains why.
Why
Greg
did I
Matthews,
ever bring up Augie Garrido?
You bring up the name, I got the story. But how about that for a pitcher or any player explaining why he had that number?
Oh, can we just get that third out? Send us to the bottom of the 8th, Al.
I'm going to get you Herbie the Love Bug, and you and Luke would like that.
Strange. 2-2 the count.
10+ years and you just figured that out?
Oh no, I had it figured out a while back. Here comes a 2-2 and now time called. And the bat hit him.
It did.
Pitch up and in with 2 strikes. McClellan not happy there.
Ball just running in here, just mixing on the hand. I almost wondered, did that hit the knob of the bat?
Watching his reaction, you would think he might be hopping around the box or shaking his hand a little bit. And he wasn't. Brandon Wood and a 1-0 pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike. He has flied out twice. He has grounded out.
Talking about how he's struggling, but he has a pedigree of power hitting in his minor leagues, throughout the minor leagues.
That's a strike at the knees. 1-2.
Godzilla is on deck.
And a strikeout. 9-5 Cardinals. Midway through 8.
Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Bud Light, the sure sign of a good time. Here we go. By AT&T Uverse, a better TV experience. Visit att.com for details. And by Bank of America. Cardinals banking only at Bank of America. Well, Mike Scioscia's going to his bullpen one more time. It'll be his third reliever, fourth pitcher overall. Cardinals have the 9-5 lead. We're going to the bottom of the ninth inning. This is Jason Bolger. 12 of his 15 outings have been scoreless, but he's allowed 16 hits and 7 earned runs with 10 walks in his last 13 innings. He's had 15 strikeouts in 15 innings, but there you see those 10 walks, allowed a couple home runs. Okay, 420. Time is being called. Looks like Morales has a glove problem.
So here we go in the Cardinals half of the 8th, and pitcher spot will be due up first in the top of the 9th. And then Ibar and Kendrick for the Angels. It's 9-5 St. Louis. Cardinals with a win would stay a half game in front of Cincinnati. And the Cardinals would improve to 25-18.
And a good homestand.
No doubt. They had the sweep of Washington, split with Florida, and 3 outs away from taking game 1 of this series against the Angels. Felipe is homer tonight. He's also tripled.
Bolger, another Georgian, birthplace Lawrenceville, and he resides in Snellville. It's a suburb a little south of Atlanta.
One pitch. Be interesting to see what the Cardinals do after this game tonight. And hearing about the strained lat of Brad Penny, they've had to go to their bullpen, and apparently Hawksworth is unavailable this weekend with a groin issue.
And they had that groin issue earlier, and that may be the discussion right there. Is Larry Weinberg informing Dave Duncan, trying to update him on the medical status. Could be a situation where if you were to make a move and you felt like it was, Dave is always so protective of having enough arms that you could bring in a reliever if you made a move, and then worried about that start a couple days from now.
Memphis, by the way, is at Sacramento, so it'd be hard to get a player or two here by tomorrow's game. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals.
Alfredo Griffith brought the second glove out to Morales.
Some folks might be thinking, well, why not Rich Hill? But Rich Hill has been moved to the bullpen.
Yeah, he's been to the bullpen, and obviously he wasn't throwing enough strikes to stay in the rotation. And I think they were trying to convince him that, this would give you a better option to come up to the bullpen in case something happened to one of the 2 situational lefties. And he was down on the depth charts as a starting pitcher.
Two 2-0 on Ludwig, and Ludwig, as we've mentioned, last couple of weeks hit twice on the hand. So another pitch that was up and in. Bob Gibson, a conversation with him, talked about pitching inside, the effectiveness that it has. And interesting to hear his thoughts and seeing himself on the Jumbotron and wondering how many pitches were away. As Ludwig is hit by the pitch.
Thrown behind him. Not sure it hit him. It definitely was behind him.
Oh, it hit him.
He'd rather be hit there than, you know, right back there. Just raise him on the thigh. It got it. It just doesn't hurt me when they get hit.
Home Depot doing more on defense. Eric Ibar, the shortstop. Fine play here to get Pujols. Home Depot doing more on defense. He's shown some range and a strong arm tonight. So here's Holiday with one out and a runner at first.
Different when Gibson pitched, you could intimidate hitters. Knockdowns happened frequently. Hitters knew that there was a chance you get thrown at, and so you just didn't dive across the plate. You were more in a safety mode. Talked to all great hitters and said, well, what would it be like to hit if you eliminate the fear factor? And they just can't believe it. And today, hitters are not fearful.
Here's Holiday with a fly ball out to left. And Bob's point was that, you know, you throw inside for the effectiveness away.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you didn't throw inside to hurt somebody or really even to hit somebody. But what you threw inside to get them, to back them up, make them conscious of that, and then with his great slider, or fastball, he'd just paint the outside corner with it, and they had a swing where they were reaching, so even if they made contact, they didn't do much with it. But you could intimidate hitters, and many pitchers did. Today, hitters intimidate pitchers.
2 outs, runner at first. Here's Pujols. Runner goes. And Ludwig is out. Pujols just throws his bat, throws his helmet, and that sends us to the ninth.
We go to the ninth at Busch Stadium. Coming up after the game on the post-game edition of Cardinals Live, Pac Paris and Rick Horton are at Lumiere Place. We'll have an update on Brad Penny's lat injury pounding Pinheiro. The Cardinals beat up on their ex-teammates. And we'll also take a look at Tony La Russa's post-game thoughts. Denny's Reyes into the game for the Cardinals as we send it back to Dan and Al, guys.
Denny's Reyes into the ball game, so 4-run lead. It's 9-5. And I'm sure Tony La Russa was unhappy with how that inning ended, with Pujols standing at the plate and Ludwig thrown out by about 3 steps. Pujols could have put this game out of reach with one swing.
That's it. You know, a grand slam could still tie this game, and you know, a runner's in scoring position at first base when Albert's at the plate. This is the aforementioned Reggie Willits.
Al, and the other thing is too, in your conversation with the Angels, you know, you steal the base, they're going to put Pujols on it.
Right. And put it this way, he was also thrown out by 10 feet.
1-2.
It wasn't like you caught them by a surprise. But now it's up to Reyes to finish out this 9th inning and Cardinal victory.
Reggie Willits and the 1-2 pitch.
Got great speed, little switch hitter. And a guy that can run like he can, you know, he'll take a walk if it's given to him.
Two. Bullpen tonight has been outstanding. Boggs, Mott, McClellan.
Only allowed 1 run. That was Boggs' first inning. Back in the 4th.
The leadoff walk. Let's take a look at our player of the game presented by Budweiser. Budweiser, the great American lager. And it's Brad Penny, 48 pitches tonight, but a grand slam back in the 3rd. We'll know more about his condition, I'm sure, later tonight and tomorrow.
Not often give to a starting pitcher that only goes 3 innings, but hard to argue with what he did with the bat.
And now it's Ibar. He's got good speed, so tough to turn 2.
Is going to get Reyes back on track.
And now quickly, Franklin, it looks like, starting to throw in the Cardinals bullpen.
This is the last thing they want, is to pitch it into a save situation. But without adding on, Cardinals last scored. They scored 2 in the 1st, 2 in the 2nd, 5 in the 3rd with a grand slam, and then Felipe Lopez homered back to back. But the Cardinals been shut down ever since then too.
Ibar is 0 for 3. A walk back in the 4th. He's hitting .237. And trying to bunt his way on. Reyes throws to first and out. Pujols with the tag. So sacrifice is good. I don't think Pujols was on the bag, but he did apply the tag. And the first base coach is arguing that he was off the bag, which I think he is. But let's see if the tag is there. Yeah, he's off the bag.
Ooh.
Cardinals may have caught a break.
Yeah, hard to tell right there. Alfredo Griffin is that first base coach.
So 1 out. Here's Howie Kendrick. Outfield is straight away for Kendrick. Pair of ground outs, a fly out, and a single tonight. Two-0 the count with 1 out and a runner at second base. And that's a strike. Big crowd tonight, over 44,000 here at Busch Stadium. Sold out. The 2-1 pitch. 3-1. They're getting a little bit restless. And a liner into right. Ludwig makes the catch. Willits tagging up from second to third. And the Angels are down to their final out. Bobby Abreu will be the final hitter possibly tonight. Reyes trying to finish it off. This big crowd now on their feet. Strike one. Abreu, 3 ground outs and a single tonight. And backhanded by Freese, settles, throws, out. Cardinals win it 9-5. They'll take game 1 over the Angels. It comes at a price, though. Brad Penny was hurt. We'll hear more about that coming up on the postgame show. We got the Hungo Award.